Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli, and I feel like I'm catering the shows here lately based on some of the social media posts that I read on the special needs sites that I belong to. And one of them that keeps coming up are how to talk to my child, letting them know that they're different or they're disabled. And I started thinking about when Lyric was younger, something that most all parents do is read with their children, read short stories, fun stories. And there's a world of books out there that kind of help you tackle just that, like explaining to your child how he or she may be a little bit different, or what that diagnosis might look like for them down the road. I came across a great children's author, and I just think you're going to adore her. Her name is Stenetta Anthony. She's written several children's books. Well, please welcome to the show, Stenetta Anthony. Hi, Stenetta. How you doing?
Hi, Gina. How are you today?
So good. Thank you so much for being on the show. You know, I'd love you to tell our viewers a little bit about your backstory. What did you used to do?
Okay, so I was an educator for 22 years, and I taught grades preschool to third grade, and it allowed me to be dramatic and to let out my dramatic side and what we would call our childlike side. So yeah, it allowed me to do that, and it was a wonderful 22 years. I still do some things voluntarily, but in the classroom, that's where I spent my time.
Being around all of these amazing kids, Stenetta, fast forward to your writing children's books. How did you come up with A Home for Sally?
Okay, so A Home for Sally is two separate parts. So it came from, over the years, reading, I'm going to say thousands of books.
Yeah.
That I had to read. I often had children who had some type of disability, whether mental or physical. And I always was looking for material to incorporate something that reflected them. And it was just difficult. And I didn't find anything, and so I had to create things. And one of the things I would always do in my classroom that I like to do with my students was recreate stories. So we recreated the three bears, everyone. We recreated everything. And so I would often do that. And so I was always looking for that in that respect. And so that's the first part. And then the second part is I would watch Saturday morning television. And so often they would have segments about pet adoption. And so when I looked at the pets, I was like, oh, they're so cute. But one of the things I did not see is a pet or a dog or a cat, whichever one was up for adoption, that had a disability. And I often wondered, where are they? You know, I know they're around. I know I've seen them. And so that prompted me to say, okay, let me start doing a little investigating. And so in my investigation, I found out that a pet with a disability is the least likely to be not euthanized, but yeah.
Adopted.
Adopted, yeah.
And with that, children with disabilities, children that are a little different and neurodivergent, are often the last ones to get picked for sports, last ones to get picked on the playground, last ones to be invited to a birthday party.
And that's true, because they are. And so I have a slight disability myself, and so it's something that I know about. But if you're looking at me, you don't know it. You don't see it. And so that was something I would show my students, or even children now, that I have a finger that was injured when I was a child that never corrected itself. And for a long time, I was ashamed of that particular disability. And so sometimes I wanted to show students that regardless of whether you can see it or not see it, you should never, ever, ever be ashamed of who you are. And so with the Home for Sally, it was birthed out of those two things.
I love that. Sitting with me today, Stenetta Anthony, children's book author. When we get back, we're going to find out about another book that she's written. Stay with me. Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. With me today, Stenetta Anthony, children's book author. And what I love about your books, especially A Home for Sally, is that families can read these books to their children and oftentimes do a couple of different things. One, have a great read with your child. Everyone needs to read with their kids. Two, also explain that, there's abilities within disabilities. And just because you have one, it can explain, why you're different, why you might not get picked first, but you will get picked. And there's something to be said about the abilities within disabilities. Stenetta, tell me, we have another book, Ella Learns to Dance. I just loved this book as well. Tell our viewers how this came to fruition.
Okay, so thank you for loving both books. So Ella Learns to Dance actually came from my personal story. I never knew how to dance. I love to dance. I love to dance. My husband tells me all the time, you have no rhythm.
Dance like nobody's watching.
But I do. I dance like nobody's watching. So her story came from me, where I used the elephant as my main character. And because she's an elephant, elephants aren't supposed to be graceful or anything like that.
Right.
So I used her to be a reflection for me to say, okay, I may not look like the norm. I may not dance like the norm, but I am who I am, and I can be the greatest, which is Ella's story, the ballerina that you could be. And her friends often told her, you have no rhythm. And people have told me, I don't know what's going on with you, but you have no rhythm. But I still dance, and today I still dance and have fun and have my own movement. I dance to my own beat.
And I think every family who has a child on the spectrum or with another type of diagnoses finds their own rhythm and marches to their own drum. Finding the joy when you first get a diagnosis for a family can be incredibly difficult. And talking to your kids about said disability can be very difficult. When you wrote some of these books, did you feel like you were building a bridge for families to talk about and be open with children about their differences?
You know what, I did. And so when I thought about it in a twofold, not just for the parents who have children who are on the spectrum, but those who don't. Because, to be honest, children can be cruel. You know?
For sure.
They can be cruel. And so it may be a child who doesn't have a disability that may be teasing another child who has a disability. So in both books, I wanted to be able to say, okay, it's okay, whether I have a disability or whether I don't, but to be sensitive. And so even with parents, to allow their children to just flourish and grow regardless of what you see, and let that child be everything that they could be. Because I have seen some parents kind of hold their children back because of their disability. And it made me sad on occasions, because I'd be like, you don't see what I see in the classroom.
Right. And it is true. All parents kind of want to keep their kids in a little bubble. We want to protect them. Certainly the more vulnerable population out there deserves to be protected. And I cue mom and dad to, be on the forefront of that line. Stenetta, do you think there's going to be more children's books in your future that kind of wrap around the acceptance of disabilities? Or where are you going to go from here? Where does Sally go? Sally needs an update.
I'm working on a sequel to Sally. And so she's going in a little different direction. She still has her disability. That doesn't change, but her storyline is just going to be a little different, And so I'm excited about that. So probably in 2025. Yeah, because we're in 2024. So probably about in 2025, early 2025, there will be a sequel to A Home for Sally. But it won't be A Home for Sally.
And where can people find these amazing books?
Okay, so both of those you can find on Amazon.com. You can find online Barnes and Noble, Target.com, Walmart.com. Oh, okay, let me think.
All of the major players.
All the major places. So you can find that. And if you're a school or a library or something like that, they're available through a website called Ingram Content Group, which is a major book distributor. So they can be found online.
And where can people find you, Stenetta? They just Google?
Okay, so they can Google. My name is very unique. And so my name is very unique. So you can reach out to me on any type of social media outlet. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Pinterest, I'm on LinkedIn, and not Twitter. It's not Twitter anymore, but Twitter.
And one last thing before we let you go. So have you had a chance to go back to your schools that you used to teach in so many years, 22 years you said that you teach or taught as a special education teacher. Have you had a chance to go back in and read to the kids your books?
Yes, I have. One of the schools actually closed, and so that was a little bit of a appointment, but it's okay. But I have had the chance to go back to one particular school and do a reading, and I was overjoyed because I didn't read to the young students that I had before. I read to the 8th graders that I had previously. So I was excited.
And teaching acceptance, because no matter what age you are, you have to accept people for who they are and the disabilities and abilities within them. Stenetta Anthony, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Gina, for having me, and I've had a fantastic time.
I mean, really, I don't know which one I liked more. I really enjoyed both of these books, and I think you and your family will too, especially if you have littler ones. Now, I wanted to throw up some of my favorite reads that I had with Lyric over the years. One in particular is called I Want to Be. It's a series of books that my friend John Trevelli wrote. And for those who don't know me, I'm a radio personality on multiple stations across the country. And so in the Wannabe series, he came up with I Want to Be a Rock Star. And he included me. I'm on page 23, and I look like a koala bee for my last name. It was really sweet and such a pleasure to be inside that book. And we featured other authors like Ibrahim, who did Trucks and Hot Dogs, and my friend Joey, who did Ava and the Little Yellow School Bus, and of course the Superheroes on the Spectrum book. All of these books can be picked up through Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And really, with Stenetta Anthony tackling in A Home for Sally, the fact that this dog has a disability and doesn't get, adopted right away. And then with Ella learns to dance because everybody's dancing to their own beat. I just thought that maybe it would be fun to have a children's book author on to discuss how it is and how important it is to read with your children and let them know about their abilities within their disabilities and how to tackle that after seeing so many social posts. Thank you so much for coming back to Life with the Spectrum. Week after week, we're talking about tools and resources, organizations and foundations that are near and dear to you. And next week, we'll be talking with a young lady named Kelly Kane, and I'm really excited about bringing her on the show and what her Autism Cares organization does. So stick with me because there's more great episodes of Life with the Spectrum to come. Till next time, we live life with the Spectrum. See ya. Bye.